Hey guys, here's part two for our update. It was quite long, obviously, so just wanted to break it up into two to make it a little easier. So, hope you're enjoying it. And again, stay safe. Thanks. All right, we're back.
So, as oftentimes happens, and it actually happened a couple of times during my stay at the hospital, almost immediately after things went bad, things started to get better. So that I believe, according to my memory, which isn't great, but that next day was the day that the Lasix started to help me clear the liquid in my lungs. And all of a sudden I could breathe better. Wasn't great, but it didn't have to be 100% across the board.
I think you went down to 95%.
It was big.
Woo!
At 5%.
But hey, 5%.
That was huge. It was up as up,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were happy.
Absolutely. So in my mind, and the way I tell the story apparently to a friend of mine, is on day 3, they were starting to wean me off of oxygen.
Yeah.
Clearly, that's not what was happening.
No.
But in my very optimistic mind, that's where we were at. So I was thrilled. And I felt good. Relatively speaking, I could feel a change in my body. And so that was good. I was taking COVID cocktail, vitamin C, zinc.
That's also when you got the platelets.
It is when I got the platelets. Thank you to whatever person found it within themselves to donate those. I don't know how much of an impact they made, but I have to imagine that they were quite helpful.
So they didn't hurt.
Nothing hurt. Ironically, I'm the biggest baby in the world when it comes to hospitals, and everything was fine. I just had to man up. I was on steroids, antibiotics, massive antibiotics. It was, there were so many things that I really don't even remember everything that they were giving me at that point.
Yeah. I think the biggest scare you had was at the end of week 1.
Yeah.
And they found out you had a blood clot.
Right. So that was absolutely the worst part of all of this. I knew physically that my body just needed time to heal as far as my lungs go. I knew I was going to be fine. At that point anyway, I knew I was going to be fine. They came in and they started doing ultrasounds in my arm, and I was like, what is happening here? Why are they doing if y'all find a baby in there, I got some explaining to do. I don't know what you're doing in there. Of course, I'm joking with everybody and whatever, but apparently they were looking for and found a blood clot because with COVID, that's a real issue that they have because A, your blood thickens, and B, you're sedentary in the hospital. So it just stands to reason that you're going to have a blood clot. So the doctor came in, and she actually came in, which is never a good sign again. And within about a 90-second conversation, she, without hardly even making eye contact with me, she let me know that I had a blood clot, and she kind of went on her merry way. Well, that was day 1 of panic attacks. Seriously.
Yeah.
I've never had a panic attack in my life. I thought I was losing my mind. So I asked for Xanax and they gave it to me. I asked for something. I don't even know what to ask for. And they gave me that, so that helped.
Why were you panicking so much?
Well, we had lost a friend very young to a pulmonary embolism. And obviously that was the first thing that came to my mind is, well, crap, I just beat COVID or my way. I can't let this be what does me in. This is crazy. But what I didn't know is, again, they were monitoring it. They already had me on blood thinners. They were well ahead of it, which is why the doctor wasn't overly concerned and didn't make a big deal about it.
Right.
I didn't know any of that at the time. So again, right nurse for the right moment. Charlotte was my nurse during that time. And once I had relaxed from the Xanax, I called over and I asked her if we could just talk for a minute. And I just held her hand. And she's like, what do you want to know? And I said, I just need to know what the worst case scenario is, because it scared me. And she was like, listen, you're here. You know, this is the best place for you to possibly be if anything goes wrong. You know, we're monitoring you. You know, will it make it more difficult for you to breathe? Absolutely. You know, but you're in the right place, and we're already ahead of the game. So obviously that made me feel better. She said, you know, it's definitely something to be concerned about, but it's not anything that's likely going to kill you. It's not going to be the end of you, likely. Not here, not now. So that obviously made me feel better. But it did, that episode did definitely bring on the second battle, which they call COVID delirium. And basically I was fighting my brain to keep my heart rate down and keep myself, I literally felt like I was going crazy at times. You know, it was horrible. I've never taken anything for anxiety or depression, and I wasn't depressed. It was definitely just anxiety, but it wasn't something that I wanted to do, and I didn't want it to continue to be a part of my life. But at the time, it literally felt like the only way I could manage this. What I've learned since is probably a lot of the reason why my heart rate was racing is I wasn't getting enough oxygen. So it's hard to say now really, you know, what came first there, but the mind game was a lot harder to win than the physical game was.
Yeah.
And you know, and the other part of that obviously is you're alone, right? So you've got COVID, hospital requirements, understandably, nobody can see you. You know, it really sucked for us because he was positive. So I knew he could come see me and he'd be fine. But it was like there was zero opportunity to do that. So you're alone, you're lonely, you don't know when you're ever gonna get out of there. And it's tough. So I kind of touched on this a little bit, but I would be remiss not to talk about how much I grew to appreciate nurses just across the board. I've never been really sick. I've had one operation ever in my life. You know, I've never had an opportunity to really see what nurses do on an everyday basis. You know, I know in our country we use the word hero a lot. We throw it around a lot. But in COVID, there is no doubt that our nurses are our heroes. No doubt about it. They're the ones saving people every day. And I don't know if this is everywhere, but it was where I was. Most of these nurses are very, very young. It reminded me a lot of when Roger was in the Marines, and they were all young guys, you know. At the time they were all guys, now I'm sure the guys and girls. But they were all young with this immense burden on their shoulders that they're gonna carry for the rest of their lives. They're struggling every single day. My recovery, I felt more to them than it did to me. Like they needed it desperately, because every day is loss and sorrow that they're seeing in their patients and their patients' families, and they internalize that. You can't help it. Especially humans that are nurses that tend to be, you know, nurturers by nature anyway.
Caring.
Yeah, you're just going to do that.
Yeah.
The physical aspect of the work that they do, the emotional, the intellectual, the intuitiveness of what they do, the public relations part of what they do, the reaching out to the families, the dealing with difficult patients, the dealing with difficult families, you know, I did my absolute best to make sure that every single person that walked into my room, regardless of what their job was, understood how grateful I was that they were taking care of me and putting their life and theoretically their families' lives in danger to care for me. That is a huge, huge risk that they voluntarily took to do, and they do it every day. I also want to say the respiratory therapists are definitely a huge part of a COVID patient's recovery. I had many that were great. I did happen to connect with one in particular. Her name was Caitlin, and she was the one that kind of pushed me forward. I felt like some of them just kind of, let me get through the day and did their own thing. Caitlin definitely took it to a different level, genuinely cared about me, genuinely understood my ambition to get out of there, and responded to that, and I'm grateful for that. But I mean, even the housekeeper, they would come in every single day and clean my room for me, which was ridiculous. I never even left the bed, but they did it. And she came in and she talked to me. When you're alone and you're a COVID patient and anybody utters a word to you, you're grateful for any conversation that you can have. And she was just so, again, loving. I had some crazy things happen along the way. I had just met some really beautiful people that I'll never forget. I'll never forget those moments. And, I think maybe that's what you take out of it. So they eventually get me out of ICU.
Day 20.
No, it was,
Three?
no, that's,
No.
no, it was like 19 or
No,
21.
it was like day 21. Yeah.
21, right, day 21.
Finally get out of
Right.
ICU.
Finally got out of ICU. And they sent me to PCU. They did almost kill me when they sent me to PCU. But that happened 5 times while I was there. It's another story. They sometimes forget that COVID patients need oxygen all the time, not just some of the time. So, got to PCU. Much like my first day in ICU, I'm going to backtrack that. My receiving nurse in PCU was horrific. Luckily it was the middle of the night, and all I needed to do was get through the night, and then I never saw her again. My day nurse in PCU that first day was Anna. Again, some miracle that Anna was my nurse. Because not only was she amazing, but she set me up that all my nurses, while I was going to be in PCU, were going to be equally as amazing as she was. And I had just the best care when I was in PCU. I was definitely pushing myself, but they knew that, and they wanted me to push myself too, but they didn't push me further than I felt comfortable. But there were things that I had to do before I could get out of there. And so day 22, Dr. Patel gave me the green light that I could go home on the 23rd. So yay, going home. So hey, did you all know there's a worldwide oxygen shortage due to COVID? So even though I was cleared to go home on the 23rd, they did not let me go home because we couldn't get the oxygen set up for me to come home at the end of the night. So day 23 comes and goes. Day 24, we're still struggling with the situation with the oxygen. And as my nurse, again, thankfully, wonderful Anna. And it's in the morning time. And she gets me some of my breakfast and we do our thing. And she leaves. And all of a sudden, she comes back in the room and she's got that guy with her. And I had no idea that this was happening because I knew they were trying to talk to like people to see if they could make it happen, but I didn't know it was happening. And Anna was afraid she was going to give me a heart attack, basically, and she almost did. So it was very emotional, obviously, for both of us. But it was exactly what the doctor ordered.
Yes.
So we spent the entire day together that day. Sadly, still not going home. But we did spend the entire day together that day. And it was, it was a long time in coming. So
great.
it was really, really good. And she was so happy to be able to surprise me.
Yeah.
She did have to calm down the nurses at the desk and let them know that it was okay, that she was the one that got my heartbeat going and stuff. But
Like, oh my God, please don't let her die.
right, but we were good. Everything was fine. We managed it. I pulled myself in. It was fine. And then finally the next day, in the afternoon, we were able to go home.
And you know, we waited this long to do this video because I don't know where you guys thought Kim was, but when she first got released, talking and being emotional was very difficult for her in the long stretch. She's getting a lot better now, but even when it becomes emotional, it's really hard for her to catch her oxygen. So any type of emotional conversation is really tough for her right now. It's getting better, as you can tell. She's managing through it. But initially, it was bad.
And by the way, everything makes me emotional.
Everything makes you
Everything
emotional.
makes me emotional.
Yeah.
I was emotional before this happened, and now this is at a whole nother level. So yeah, that is definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
But so since I've been out of the hospital, my gosh, I mean, physically, I have just really exceeded even my own expectations, which are pretty high.
Well, you were at 5 liters of oxygen per minute when we got out of the hospital.
I mean, I barely passed my walk test to get out of there, barely.
And now you're at 1 liter
1 liter.
of oxygen.
And I'm able to walk with just a 1 liter as well, so
You
that's
even
pretty good.
Took a shower without having to sit down. You
Yep.
stood up,
Yep.
took a regular shower. So you've really come a long way in just 1 week.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably 10 days ago that I took my first shower since I'd been in the hospital, and I had to take a Xanax to do it because I was so nervous about it that I was just worried I was just gonna not be able to breathe. So just 10 days ago, I couldn't even take a shower sitting down without a Xanax. So, you know, to be able to just shower on my own and do my hair and, you know, brush my teeth and just, you know, relatively live normally is amazing.
Sure. Yeah, it's been crazy. We had a video doctor's appointment today. We were hoping to find out when we could go home, but next week we're gonna have an appointment with the pulmonologist.
Yeah.
Right? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Okay. Got that one right. And then hopefully go home the week after that. We'll head back to Arizona.
Right. So home might be news.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
we're not going to Italy. Again, COVID changes everything, right? So we've decided for certain that we're not going to leave the country right now. We want to be close to our family. So we're moving by Liz and within driving distance to the boys. And that's just where I feel I need to be right now.
She needs to focus on her recovery. And then after she's fully recovered, we'll figure out maybe when in the future we'll get to Italy.
And honestly, I don't
Happens,
even care
happens.
anymore.
It doesn't happen, it's
I
fine.
genuinely don't care anymore. So it's all good from there.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's a plan. We're gonna drive, God help us, from Florida to Vegas. I didn't think I'd ever have to do that again. Not Vegas, to Arizona.
But going forward, we will be very cautious.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was gonna say.
You know,
You know, I am a social butterfly. I need people. I need
connections.
entertainment. I need things. But what I learned is I don't need any of those things more than I need to be alive. So my body can't go through this again. And so this is really going to change the way that I live, at least in the short term, until we have vaccine, until we have this under control. Because I just can't, I mean, I've had COVID twice. I can't take the chance of having it again. Clearly there's something in me that's susceptible to it.
Yeah, it's just not good.
No, and that's not an option for me. So I have to learn to live my life differently, and I'm 100% okay with that. So that's where we're at.
So, again, same message as before, please be cautious. I know there's debate whether or not masks work. Doesn't matter if you know if they work or if they don't work. Just wear them. It's a barrier to help.
I do feel like if we all had masks on the night that I had, caught it, that I probably wouldn't have caught it. I mean,
Probably be sitting here right now. That's
right.
For sure.
But
Who knows?
I mean, who knows? I mean, it's true. Who knows? And again, I'm not putting that on anybody. That was a choice that I made.
Oh, absolutely. No, it was our
Right.
mistake.
Right.
Yeah.
So wear your mask, sanitize your hands. It definitely seems to be more airborne than it seems to be anything else. So really, honestly, if you just wear your mask, cover your nose, wear it all the time. Don't worry about what other people think, because it won't matter if you're dead. That's the reality of the situation, Protect yourself, protect your family.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and now you're all caught up with what's going on with our life, and we hope you're all well, and stay safe.
Before we go, I just want to thank you so much for everything,
Of course.
and for always, always having my back and being my support, and thank you to everybody for supporting him, especially during that first week. I know it wasn't great. I know he was struggling. I was frankly more concerned for him than I was for me. And we have amazing family and friends, and I'm grateful to each and every one of you
Very much.
for the love and support that you gave to him. And also, honestly, for giving me the time that I needed to heal and get better. I know that you were concerned, but you filtered through Roger, and I appreciate that, because I just couldn't do it. So thank you.
Very love you.
Love you too.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.